somewhere, right now, at this exact very moment, a celebrity publicist is having the absolute worst morning of their entire life. An emergency PR meeting definitely started before the sun even came up. A ring light was like tragically knocked over in a panic. A frantic Zoom link was sent out with the subject line, "Urgent, crisis management," and somebody, somewhere, is staring at their ceiling, deeply, deeply regretting hitting post at 2 in the morning.
Oh, without a doubt. There's a Hollywood manager currently chugging Pepto-Bismol straight from the bottle, just, pacing a very expensive kitchen island. There's an entire crisis communications team frantically drafting a Notes app apology.
Are the ones that always start with, "I have been doing a lot of listening and learning."
Exactly. The sheer, unadulterated panic radiating from the Hollywood Hills this morning is palpable. You can practically taste the desperation in the air, and frankly, it tastes delicious.
Babes, welcome back. We love you. We see you. And babes, we are so happy to have you here with us. We are the Snark Squad, and today is one of those days where the universe just decided to serve us a 5-course tasting menu of absolute unmitigated chaos.
It is a sprawling buffet of terrible life decisions, and we have brought our absolute largest plates. Like, we are ready.
Yes. Babes, we have our iced coffees on deck. The condensation is literally dripping down the sides of the plastic cups as we speak. And babes, we're so here for the tea today. I have to ask, is there anything fundamentally better than taking that first sip of an iced coffee when the blogs are just completely spectacularly milling down?
From a purely psychological standpoint, there really isn't. It is almost scientifically proven at this point that gossip is absorbed into the human bloodstream 20% faster if the vehicle of delivery is an iced caffeinated beverage. I mean, think about it. Hot coffee is for serious, mundane tasks.
Right, like doing your taxes or whatever.
Exactly. Hot coffee is for enduring a morning commute or reading a deeply depressing news article about the global economy. Iced coffee, however, is an entirely different energy. Iced coffee is for sitting back, taking a leisurely sip, and watching a reality TV star's carefully constructed PR narrative completely unraveled in real time. It just makes the gossip taste so much crisper.
Yes. It's the auditory experience. It's the aggressive clinking of the ice cubes. Like, every single time there's a shocking revelation or a leaked text message, you just take a sip and let the ice clink against the plastic. It acts as dramatic punctuation.
It's the perfect pairing. Coffee and celebrity chaos are basically the perfect synergistic combination. It's the premium fuel that powers this entire operation.
It really is. When you wake up and you grab that freezing cold cup and you open up your phone and the blogs are already on fire, it just makes the morning feel so much easier to tackle. You sit there and you think, okay, my own life might be a little messy right now. I might have forgotten to answer an email, but at least I didn't accidentally leak my own private texts, apologizing to my reality show castmate on the internet.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It is the ultimate perspective shifter. The iced coffee provides the necessary central nervous system stimulation to keep up with the sheer velocity of the rumors, and the drama provides the will to live. It is a beautiful symbiotic relationship.
So true. And tell the Snark Squad because, babes, the gossip gods absolutely blessed us this morning. They looked down upon us from the heavens and said, "Let there be mess." When we both woke up today, checked our phones in the dark, and immediately saw what was happening, we just instantly knew it was going to be one of those legendary days.
The notifications were genuinely aggressive. We're talking about a rapid-fire, relentless assault on the lock screen. It looked like a casino slot machine paying out a jackpot, but instead of digital coins, it was just unhinged headlines, broken marriages, and people going to jail.
The group texts were spiraling out of control before I even had both of my eyes fully open. My phone was vibrating right off the nightstand. And you know it's a serious situation when your friends completely abandon the standard good morning pleasantries.
Oh, yeah. No, how did you sleep?
Right. They just sent a blurry screenshot with zero context other than, "Call me right now." The sheer visceral excitement of seeing the blogs exploding before you've even had breakfast is unmatched. It is vastly superior to any alarm clock on the market. You jolt awake, your resting heart rate instantly spikes to 120, and you are instantly biologically ready to dissect human behavior.
It's an adrenaline rush. Who needs extreme sports or skydiving when you can just track the spectacular downfall of Bravo stars before 8 a.m.? We were texting each other in all caps, typos everywhere, autocorrect completely failing us because our thumbs were moving at the speed of light.
Literally typing like OMFG, DIUUSCTHHS. But wait, before we even start recording this insanity, we have to address something.
Yeah.
We just got back from morning yoga and babes. We need to talk.
Uh-oh, here we go.
We need to have a serious, definitive conversation right here, right now, for the record. Is yoga better than Pilates? Because I am firmly, passionately, undeniably team yoga.
And I am firmly, analytically, and factually Team Pilates.
Okay, but hear me out on the mechanics of this. Yoga is a holistic, spiritual journey. You walk into the studio, the lighting is perfectly dim, there's a gorgeous little eucalyptus and lavender scent wafting through the air, and the instructor has a voice that sounds like literal velvet.
Sure, velvet.
You are stretching your fascia, you are intentionally breathing, you are physically connecting your mind to your body. It is hot girl energy, but like enlightened, elevated hot girl energy. You leave that room feeling like you just had a deep tissue massage for your actual soul. It's about flexibility, spinal health, and finding your emotional center.
Okay, sure. If your ultimate fitness goal is to take a very expensive, mildly sweaty nap while someone plays a Tibetan singing bowl in the corner, then yes, yoga is fantastic.
Hey, Savasana is vital.
But let's look at this analytically. Pilates is about actual, undeniable, shaking muscle strength. You get on that reformer machine, which, let's be honest, looks exactly like a medieval torture device.
It literally does. It has straps and pulleys.
Exactly, and you have to engage muscles you didn't even know existed. Yoga is pure vibes and aesthetics. Pilates is biomechanical results. You want hot girl energy? Try doing 1,000 tiny, agonizing, isolated pulses against a heavy tension spring until your glutes are screaming for mercy.
Just hearing you say that makes my legs hurt.
All while maintaining absolute perfect core stabilization so you don't fall off the carriage. That is power. That is control.
I cannot, with how sarcastic you are about this. I need the relaxation. I need the savasana at the very end of the class where you just lie there on the mat like a literal corpse and let the heavy weight of the world fade away. Pilates is just way too aggressive for 7 a.m. I feel like I am actively being punished in a Pilates class.
You're being punished for your own good.
No, the instructor is yelling at me to tuck my pelvis and my legs are vibrating uncontrollably.
Well, in yoga, I'm just sitting in a downward dog, staring at my own toes, wondering if I left the stove on, or mentally writing my grocery list. Pilates demands my absolute, undivided attention, because if I lose focus for even a millisecond, the tension springs in the carriage will snap back, and I will literally launch across the room like a human slingshot.
Wait, that is a terrifying visual.
It builds character. It builds resilience.
Okay, we are absolutely getting sidetracked here. And honestly, if we are being completely real, neither of us is remotely qualified to make this kind of high-level fitness determination. I think I held a plank for exactly 14 seconds this morning before I collapsed onto my mat and checked my phone.
Very true. My expertise lies entirely in analyzing the emotional breakdowns and PR missteps of Z-list celebrities, not in the intricacies of human biomechanics.
So true. Babes, honestly, we have so much drama to get through today that we need to stop spiraling and get into it. We are starting this massive daily gossip recap, and we are starting with the messiest, most chaotic breakups of the day. Let's look at the absolute unmitigated wreckage over at Summer House.
It is a smoking crater of a situation. We need to meticulously break down Amanda, West, and the aftermath texts that were leaked to the entire world.
Oh my God, the texts. Okay, so for everyone catching up, Amanda Batula's leaked text to Lindsay Hubbard apologizing for her choices with Wes Wilson just hit the internet. And when I tell you these texts are devastating, I mean they are fundamentally heartbreaking.
They are heavily loaded.
Amanda essentially claims in writing that her marriage to Kyle Cook made her feel like, quote, shh, and that West, quote, pursuing her made her feel lovable and fun again. My jaw physically hit the floor when I read that. I am freaking out over the betrayal.
It's explosive to put that in writing to a coworker.
But at the exact same time, I am feeling so much profound empathy for Amanda. Can you imagine feeling so entirely lost, so ignored, and so low in your own marriage that the very first guy who pays attention to you completely derails your life?
Let's analyze the psychology of this, because it is a classic textbook vulnerability trap. From a behavioral standpoint, we should sarcastically applaud Wes Wilson for his impeccable timing.
Oh, totally.
He swooped in when her marital self-esteem was hovering at absolute zero. But before we get to Wes, we have to dissect Lindsay Hubbard's response to this text, because Lindsay is a masterclass in PR survival. Amanda texts her this incredibly heavy, emotionally loaded paragraph and says, not expecting a response, just texting to say I'm sorry. And what does Lindsay do?
Oh, she leaves her on read forever.
Exactly. She waits a full 24 hours to text back. That is a calculated power move. When she finally responds, she says, I have a lot of feelings about all of this, but just checking in to make sure you're okay. Lindsay knows exactly what mechanically happened here. West completely manipulated Amanda's emotional deficit.
But wait, do you really think it was completely calculated manipulation on his part, or was he just swept up in it too? Because to me, it looks like he totally love-bombed her. Amanda admitted she was in a shady relationship and just wasn't herself anymore.
It is the exact opening he needed.
Right. And Wes was constantly texting her, constantly pursuing her, showering her with the exact type of validation she was starving for. When someone does that and you are emotionally depleted, of course you're going to think you are falling for them. Amanda even wrote in the text, "I think maybe I confused going out with West and falling in love with myself again. That specific line broke my heart. It is so deeply sad."
It is a beautifully tragic line, perfect for the jacket flap of a ghost-written memoir. But looking at this analytically, it is also deeply problematic to outsource your entire self-worth to the guy you work with on a reality television set. West's strategy here was essentially the exact same playbook used by a desperate timeshare salesman.
Wait, a timeshare salesman?
Yes, he saw a highly vulnerable target, he recognized the emotional opening, he applied relentless, high-pressure charm tactics, and he promised her a beautiful, consequence-free vacation from her miserable reality.
Oh my God, that makes so much sense.
And Amanda bought the timeshare. Now she's stuck paying the exorbitant maintenance fees of extreme public humiliation.
The timeshare analogy is so harsh, but it's painfully accurate. He was selling her a pure fantasy. And then the minute the situation actually blows up and gets complicated, what does Wes do? He immediately exits stage left. Wes confirmed his departure from Summer House on camera.
So convenient for him.
He actually sat down and said he did a bad job at the reunion and claimed that he and the network were mutually parting ways. Now, I know a little bit about PR, but mutually fired is my absolute new favorite corporate buzzword for they told me to pack my bags and clear out my locker, but they are legally allowing me to pretend I walked out the door voluntarily.
Exactly. Let's talk about the actual mechanics of a mutual decision in network television. You can practically hear the crisis PR spin doctor whispering the legal jargon into his ear. When a network fires a talent, it opens up a messy can of worms.
Like breach of contract stuff, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Potential breach of contract claims, unemployment filings, union grievances, and negative press. By framing it as a mutual decision, the network avoids the legal headache, and the talent gets to save face in the press by acting like they simply outgrew the platform.
It's so fake.
He was trying to control the narrative by quitting right before the guillotine officially dropped. He sat down with Kyle on camera. And the sheer audacity to film that exit conversation with the husband of the woman involved is staggering, and said his time was over. It damage control 101.
It's so transparent. But it actually gets better, because while West is trying to meticulously control his PR narrative, his ex-girlfriend, Maisha Moreno, who he dated right before this whole Amanda situation, steps into the chat and goes rogue.
Oh, this was fascinating.
She spoke out on Threads, of all places. She admitted that she actually reached out to West after the reunion for an apology, which caused a bunch of fans to absolutely attack her, accusing her of trying to get back together with a toxic ex. But instead of hiding, she clapped back and owned the entire thing.
A very rare move in reality TV.
She said, "Guys, I know it's pathetic to speak to an ex, but have we not all been down bad for a man we shouldn't be?"
I have to give her a standing ovation for her crisis management there. She completely disarmed the internet trolls by employing the strategy of radical, uncomfortable honesty. From a public relations standpoint, if you own your embarrassment before the public can weaponize it against you, you take away all of their ammunition.
Totally.
Yes, texting an ex who publicly humiliated you is objectively a terrible idea. We all know that. But it's also a universal human experience to just come out and say, yeah, I did it. I wanted closure. I acted pathetic for a minute, but I'm not trying to get back with them, is brilliant. It stops the rumor mill dead in its tracks.
I loved it. She was being so incredibly real for that. She even went out of her way to thank Ciara and Lindsay for giving her a voice and supporting her behind the scenes. It's giving actual sisterhood.
But meanwhile, back in the center of the Amanda and Kyle wreckage,
Kyle Cook is over here posting the most cryptic emo photos on Instagram. He posted this dramatic end-of-an-era group photo with the producers, with a caption saying it was a heartbreaking way to end one hella little run. He literally sent the entire fan base into an absolute panic thinking he was quitting the show.
let's dissect the sheer, calculated narcissism of that specific post. He knew exactly what he was doing mechanically.
Oh, he knew for sure.
This wasn't an accidental phrasing. He was deliberately baiting the audience engagement algorithm. He wants people in the comments begging him to stay. He desperately needs the external validation that the show fundamentally cannot survive without him as the anchor.
It's so needy.
And then once the panic reaches a fever pitch and the blogs pick it up, he casually edits the caption a few hours later to say, "Oh, oops, my bad, this show isn't canceled and I'm not leaving, I was just feeling nostalgic."
It is manipulative social media behavior designed entirely to test his own market value. It totally worked, though. I was in a panic. I thought the summer house we knew was completely dead and buried. But wait, because there's one person who is absolutely thriving in this chaos, and that is Hannah Berner. We know she has deep, complicated history with this cast.
History is putting it lightly.
She went on a podcast this week and basically danced on their graves. She recalled defending Paige DeSorbo against the producers back in the day, but then she dropped the shadiest blind item I have ever heard.
Do tell.
The host asked her to name a reality star who is worse in person than they are on TV. Hannah didn't name names, but she said normally they don't get the villain edit, they get the good edit, and then she literally winked at the camera. The entire internet instantly knew she was talking about Amanda.
Hannah has been waiting for this exact structural collapse for years.
Uh-huh.
Think about the narrative arc here. She was painted as the ultimate villain for so long because she went against the Kyle and Amanda regime.
They crucified her.
And historically, Amanda always got the angel edit, the victim edit, the long-suffering girlfriend edit. Now, the production mask is fully slipped. Amanda's incredibly messy texts are leaked. The cracks in her marriage are fully exposed to the light of day. And Hannah gets to sit back on her incredibly successful comedy tour and essentially say, "I told you so."
It is the ultimate satisfying long game vindication.
It really is. It's the literal definition of karma, taking its absolute sweet time, but finally delivering the package to the front door. Oh, and just a very quick cast update before we transition. Dara Levitin confirmed her split from KJ Dillard on her own platform, saying she was single and didn't want to talk about the details without crying, which is genuinely sad.
It is unfortunate.
And then in what might be the weirdest pop culture crossover event of the century, Lindsay Hubbard revealed on Carl Radke's podcast that Paula Abdul is basically her almost niece, Paula Abdul.
I'm sorry, I need to pause. The singer, Paula Abdul. Right. It makes no sense. But apparently, back when Lindsay used to be a high-powered PR boss before the show, she dated Paula Abdul's nephew. She spent so much time with the family that Paula literally calls her almost niece to this day. Carl even confirmed it.
The Bravo cinematic universe is truly a deeply weird, interconnected web. The networking connections are baffling. But speaking of weird networks, babes, Summer House is just dealing with text messages and broken hearts. Over in New Jersey, they are dealing with actual handcuffs. Let's talk about the Judy family.
Oh my God. This is objectively the darkest, most shocking story on our outline today. Teresa's 20-year-old daughter, Melania Giudice, was arrested for simple assault. My heart literally dropped into my stomach when I read the police blotter on this. The details coming out are horrifying.
It's very serious escalation.
She allegedly went after multiple people in the home. It was described as an explosive physical fight. And get this, her own sister was the one who called the cops out of fear for everyone's safety. And Luis Reines, Teresa's husband, had to physically restrain Melania. Can you imagine the sheer chaos of that moment? Can you imagine being so terrified that you have to dial 911 on your own flesh and blood sister? I am panicking just trying to visualize the dynamic in that house.
It is a literal nightmare scenario. And it crosses the line from reality TV entertainment into a deeply serious legal reality. Let's look at the mechanics of what happens when the police are called to a domestic disturbance in New Jersey.
Right, because they don't mess around.
If officers arrive at a scene and there are visible marks, or if someone alleges physical harm, they are often legally mandated to make an arrest to separate the parties. They file charges of simple assault and knowingly causing bodily injury, marking it as a domestic violence incident. And notice how the PR machinery instantly, seamlessly clicked into gear.
Yes, the PR strategy was so obvious and weird.
Exactly. We are talking about a major incident where a young woman has now retained Alan Kraminski, a very high-powered criminal defense attorney. And what happens immediately after the arrest hits the press? Melania is suddenly on Instagram posting these syrupy, highly produced, poetic quotes about how beautiful her mom is and how she shaped her life.
It was bizarre.
It is the most transparent, mathematically calculated distraction technique I've seen in a long time. The strategy is to flood the SEO algorithm. They want people searching her name to find heartwarming mother-daughter posts, not her mugshot. It's a classic deflection. Don't look at the police report. Look at how much I love my mommy.
It was so deeply weird to watch in real time. She posted a picture with the caption, "Me and my mama so close, sometimes I'd be forgetting I'm talking to my mama," with a laughing emoji. Like, girl, you just hired a lawyer who represents people in massive high-stakes criminal cases, and you were posting laughing emojis. It feels like such a disconnect from reality.
Kraminski is a serious heavyweight lawyer. You don't put him on retainer for a little sibling squabble over a borrowed sweater or a raised voice. If Luis Ruelas, a grown man, had to physically step in and restrain a 20-year-old girl, and his sister was so genuinely terrified she dialed the authorities, we are talking about an absolute brawl. The physical escalation must have been severe. And to try and sweep it under the rug with curated Instagram stories is frankly insulting to the public's intelligence.
I completely agree. But you know who is never, ever going to let this get swept under the rug? Kim Paula hopped on our podcast and unleashed a level of unhinged commentary that actually left me completely speechless.
I mean, we shouldn't be surprised.
She literally said on a microphone, broadcast to the entire world, that she hopes Melania Blatch slapped Teresa and Luis because, quote, they deserve it. And then she offered her own lawyer to Melania.
You really have to step back and just marvel at the sheer relentless dedication Kim D has to this feud. It is her life's work. It is her magnum opus.
It's terrifying.
From a strategic standpoint, using a tertiary event, a 20-year-old girl's domestic assault arrest, to reignite a primary decade-old feud with Teresa is a masterclass in psychological warfare. She knows exactly which buttons to press to guarantee herself a headline.
She is terrifying. She even went out of her way to taunt Luis. Apparently, Luis liked one of her Instagram reels by accident, and Kim D took that as a direct threat. She went back on Instagram, called him the big bad wolf, and explicitly dared him to take her to court. She said, "You couldn't contain a 20-year-old. You had to call the cops. Bring it on, big boy."
I am screaming. She is poking a bear with a very, very sharp stick.
She operates in a specific realm of reality television where shame simply does not exist. But let's observe how the rest of the Giudice family is handling this immense pressure. Gia Giudice, the eldest daughter, is doing what she has been trained by the network to do best: deflecting the narrative.
Wait, yeah, she went off on Ava.
She went on a podcast this week to slam her next-gen NYC co-star Ava Dash, calling her nasty. Yes. Okay, so Ava had claimed that Teresa unfollowed her on social media just to be petty, and Gia went completely off, saying Ava is calculated, very aware of her image, and actively trying to distract the audience from her own family's financial issues. Gia actually delivered this iconic line, "You could be nasty and still beautiful," which honestly is a great quote, but I want to push back on this a little bit. Isn't Ava just playing the reality TV game?
That's the entire point of the show.
Like, she's starting minor drama over an Instagram unfollow for camera time, which is literally what they are paid by the production company to do.
Of course, Ava's playing the game. That's the baseline requirement for the job. But look at Gia's strategic maneuvering here. Gia is expertly deflecting from her own family's massive real-world legal drama.
Ooh, right. Look over here, not over there.
Her sister is facing criminal assault charges. The family is in absolute crisis. And Gia is sitting on a podcast expertly pivoting the entire conversation to an Instagram unfollow and Ava's image. It's misdirection. The message she is sending to the audience is, don't look at my sister's criminal defense attorney, look at Ava's fake storyline.
It's all falling apart in New Jersey. And speaking of the structural collapse of New Jersey, the RHONJ Season 15 reboot is officially underway. The network has fired basically everyone except Teresa, Melissa, and Dolores. Reports are coming out saying the new season with all these fresh newbies is less toxic and full of sisterhood.
Let's talk about the mechanics of a network rebooting a cast. Sisterhood is a buzzword they feed to the press to contrast the previous season's dark toxicity.
Which is so dark.
When a network looks at Q scores, focus groups, and production costs versus rating yields, and they realize the audience is exhausted by a decade-long family feud, they clean house. But give it 3 episodes. True sisterhood doesn't generate the necessary conflict required to sustain a reality television format.
Exactly. Conflict is the engine. And fired cast member Rachel Fuda is so incredibly bitter about being let go. She went off to the press, slamming the new girls as inauthentic and questioning the entire show's new identity. She basically said they don't even know each other, they don't fit the dynamic, and she's wondering how the production team is going to force a connection between them.
Which is valid, but also sour grapes.
Totally. Oh, and Andy Cohen basically confirmed the unspoken rule. Housewives get fired if they can't find their footing and secure a solid storyline in 2 seasons, or if they totally fail to perform at the reunions.
Rachel Fuda is critiquing the casting choices from the sidelines because she failed the 2-season probation period. She had 2 full years to secure her spot to make herself indispensable to the network, and she didn't deliver.
She dropped the ball.
And as for Teresa and Melissa suddenly miraculously getting along and having sisterhood with these new girls, it's a temporary, highly motivated ceasefire. They both mathematically understand that if this reboot fails and the ratings tank, the entire franchise gets paused indefinitely and their massive paychecks disappear. They are focused on financial survival, not actual friendship.
It is so wild to see the business side of it exposed like that. But babes, if you thought the Giudices had legal problems, babes, you haven't seen anything yet. Let's talk about the reality stars who are literally fighting for their freedom and their millions. We are talking handcuffs, body cams, and massive schemes.
Finally, we get to the complex white-collar crime, my absolute favorite genre of reality star downfall.
We are starting with Brendan Fitzpatrick. You probably remember him from Rich Kids of Beverly Hills. He was married to Morgan Stewart, very wealthy, very entrenched in that LA scene. Well, he is currently being sued for $80 million. $80 million? I am completely gagged. I cannot even conceptualize that amount of money.
It's an astronomical sum.
His company, Carbonatic LLC, allegedly promised private investors a staggering 120% return on a graphite and copper mine located in Sri Lanka. And the victims are now legally claiming in court that the company, the mining operation, and the graphite never even existed.
Let's break down the exact mechanics of how a Ponzi scheme of this magnitude actually operates, because it relies on a very specific type of psychological manipulation called affinity fraud.
Affinity fraud? Wait, explain that.
Affinity fraud works by exploiting the inherent trust within a specific, usually very wealthy, closed social circle. You don't pitch a random stranger on the street. You pitch your country club buddy or the guy you went to private school with. The asset here, a graphite mine in Sri Lanka, is strategically brilliant for a scam.
How is a fake mine brilliant?
It's a hard asset, which sounds solid, and graphite is crucial for EV batteries, which is a hot market right now. But crucially, Sri Lanka is far enough away that no Beverly Hills investor is ever going to charter a flight to actually verify the mine exists. They just look at the glossy prospectus and trust their buddy.
But wait, I have to push back on this. These are incredibly rich, highly educated people with wealth managers and lawyers. How do they fall for something like this? A 120% return sounds fundamentally illegal, just on the surface.
Because greed and the fear of missing out completely override logic, even in educated circles. The 120% return is mathematically impossible in any standard legal market, but the fraudsters frame it as exclusive ground floor access that only the elite are invited to.
Oh, so they play on their egos.
Exactly. From a legal perspective, the investors ignored massive glowing red flags because they wanted to believe they were part of a secret wealth-building club. And Brendan is just out there living the high life, posting curated content on Instagram, while European investors are suing him in London's commercial court for $70 million, and individuals in the U.S. are suing him for their $500,000 life savings. The sheer audacity to maintain a public profile while facing an $80 million international fraud lawsuit is staggering.
It's terrifying. It really shows how easily people can be manipulated. And from complex white-collar crime, we move to the incredibly depressing, visceral reality of body cam footage being released to the public.
Body cams are the new reality TV frontier.
The Freedom of Information Act has basically turned police body cams into the new wave of reality TV. And TMZ got their hands on 2 different reality star videos this week. First, Little Women, Atlanta star Miss Juicy. She was pulled over for a suspended license and having no insurance.
Which is a standard traffic stop.
Right, but the video shows the officer telling her she's getting arrested, and she just completely breaks down sobbing in the back of the cop car. She was so terrified about how she was going to get her medical oxygen tank because she's had severe health issues and strokes in the past. My heart just physically broke watching that.
It's hard to watch.
I felt such deep, profound empathy for her. I felt so incredibly intrusive to watch a woman's worst, most vulnerable medical moment broadcast like that.
It is deeply intrusive. We are seeing a major shift in celebrity privacy, where the worst day of your life is now public record, instantly available for blog consumption. But contrast the genuine, heartbreaking medical distress of Mrs. Juicy with the other body cam footage released this week, Thais Ramon from 90 Day Fiancé.
Oh my God, the Thais Patrick divorce mess. It is the complete opposite end of the spectrum.
Exactly. Thais was arrested after allegedly slapping her husband, Patrick Mendez, in the face during a heated argument. The mechanical breakdown of the event is that he served her divorce papers, went back to the shared house, a verbal argument escalated into a physical altercation, and she allegedly hit him.
That escalated so fast.
When the police arrived, they observed physical marks on his face and, per protocol, arrested her for domestic battery. And now they are fighting an absolutely brutal, scorched earth divorce battle in family court.
The court documents that leaked are insane. She is petitioning for joint custody and spousal support because she claims he makes $10,000 a month and she makes half that amount. He is counter-petitioning for sole custody of their 3-year-old daughter. But the most unhinged, petty part of this entire legal filing, Patrick is legally demanding the Honda Ridgeline truck, his 401k retirement account, and the Tempur-Pedic mattress. He literally put a mattress in a legal divorce filing.
Let's look at the legal strategy behind this, because why would a lawyer let a client itemize a piece of foam? In highly contentious divorces, lawyers will sometimes itemize petty, easily replaceable household items as a negotiation tactic to exhaust the other party's legal funds and emotional bandwidth.
Wait, really? Over a bed?
You force them to spend $5,000 in billable attorney hours fighting over a $2,000 used mattress. It's about inflicting financial pain and asserting dominance, not about the actual lumbar support. It shows you exactly how toxic and vindictive this specific split has become.
It's so embarrassing. Just go to the store and buy a new bed. But speaking of past decisions coming back to haunt you, we have to talk about the absolute cancellation of Ashley Cain.
The digital footprint strikes again.
He was a major star on The Challenge and X on the Beach, and he was transitioning into serious broadcasting. He just had his entire BBC documentary axed. It was called Into the Danger Zone. And the Prestige Network pulled the plug entirely because internet sleuths dug up his old, horrific tweets where he called women slags, psychos, and literally joked about physical violence against women.
This is a crucial lesson in the vetting process of modern networks. Your digital footprint is written in permanent ink. Historically, standard network background checks only looked for criminal records and major financial liabilities.
Right, they just wanted to know if you robbed a bank.
Exactly. Now, networks are employing advanced AI scrubbing tools to analyze a talent's entire social media history across all platforms. You cannot spend years referring to women with violently misogynistic slurs on a public platform and then expect a prestige, publicly funded network like the BBC to make you the face of a sensitive documentary. The arrogance to sign a massive contract assuming nobody would check a public Twitter feed is astounding.
It really is. It completely ruined his pivot to serious journalism. From actual courtrooms, babes, we are moving into the court of public opinion, where scorned exes are pulling out their ring lights and going completely rogue on Instagram Live. Let's talk about the unhinged allegations.
The absolute Wild West of the internet where the burden of proof is non-existent. Proceed.
We have to start with the unexpected drama. For those who aren't familiar, this is the TLC documentary series that follows teen pregnancy. Bella Vaughn, who is 16 years old, just proved through a court-ordered DNA paternity test that her ex-boyfriend, Hunter Johnson, who is 14 years old, is the biological father of her baby.
Let me just repeat that for the analytical record. 14.
I can't.
He is 14 years old. He cannot legally drive a car. He cannot vote. He cannot sign a contract. But he is legally responsible for a human child.
I am completely paralyzed by this information. A 14-year-old boy has a baby, an incredibly angry baby mama, and is embroiled in a massive family court custody battle. His dad, Casey, just had to petition for full legal custody of Hunter, and the judge completely sealed the case. But the drama gets so much worse.
Because of course it does.
Hunter already has a new girlfriend, and Bella, the 16-year-old mother of his child, is shading the new girlfriend on TikTok. She posted a photo of herself with the caption, "I mog you." And then she posted, "Good luck for you, babe. While you're fucking around with him, I'm raising our baby and trying to figure out why our family wasn't enough." He is 14. He shouldn't be worrying about our family. He should be worrying about passing freshman algebra.
It is a systemic failure on every conceivable level. First of all, for the Snark Squad members who aren't chronically online teenagers, to mog someone means to look or perform significantly better than them physically.
Thank you for explaining that because I had to look it up.
It's aggressive internet slang. Bella is essentially asserting dominance by saying she's physically more attractive than the new 14-year-old girlfriend. But let's look at the family court mechanics here. When a minor has a child, custody is incredibly complex. The state heavily intervenes.
Because they're literal children themselves.
Exactly. Grandparents or legal guardians have to assume responsibility because a 14-year-old cannot legally sign medical or financial documents for a dependent. From an analytical perspective, the public is absolutely tearing these parents apart, Phil and Casey. Because how do you allow a 12-year-old boy and a 14-year-old girl to be in a situation where a pregnancy occurs? And then critically, how do you allow them to go on national television to broadcast the fallout?
It is so dark and so tragic, the adults completely failed them. And keeping with the theme of TLC families being an absolute mess, let's talk about the Plathville meth accusations. Because my jaw was on the floor for this entire video.
This was a masterclass in legal liability.
Micah Plath's ex-girlfriend, Veronica Peters, just went on Instagram Live and tried to burn the entire Plath family to the ground. She claims Micah is currently homeless, living in his truck, and couldn't afford rent in Los Angeles, so he was sleeping on the couch of Snoop Dogg's assistant dog walker.
The specificity of that claim is wild.
Which is the most specific, insane, hyper-detailed claim ever. She also claims Micah is secretly bisexual and his heavily conservative, homophobic family would die if he came out.
Ah, yes. The classic scorned ex goes nuclear on IG Live strategy. It's a very specific PR move designed to inflict maximum reputational damage with minimum institutional oversight. But let's look at the actual allegations she is throwing out because they cross a major legal line.
They are staggering. She accused Micah's sister, Mariah, of using crystal meth. She explicitly said, "How do I know Mariah used meth? Because I watched it." She also accused Mariah of faking a serious medical condition, alopecia for sympathy, and abusing animals.
Wow.
And she said the younger brother, Isaac, does hard drugs too. But then, the absolute kicker, she fully admits on the live stream that she has zero actual proof of any of this. She said, "I don't think to take pictures of illicit drug use when it's happening." But she claims the family can't sue her for defamation because it's true.
I need to dissect the absolute legal delusion of stating, I have no proof, but you can't sue me because it's true.
It makes no sense.
That is a fundamental, catastrophic misunderstanding of how defamation law actually works. Yes, truth is an absolute defense in a defamation case. However, the burden of proof shifts dramatically in civil court. If you go on a public platform and accuse a public television figure of smoking crystal meth and faking a medical condition, and they sue you for defamation, you have to prove they did it during the discovery process.
Like bring receipts to court.
You have to produce witnesses, medical records, or documentation. You cannot just say it's true to the judge and walk away. By boldly stating, I have no evidence on the video, she is handing their legal team a victory on a silver platter.
I am just horrified by the meth allegations. That is such a dark, heavy thing to put on the internet about a young woman. Like, I keep asking myself, is Veronica just a bitter, clout-chasing ex looking for attention after a bad breakup? Or is there a dark, terrible truth hiding behind the Plathville cameras?
Well, we know TLC families have massive skeletons in their closets.
I mean, Kate Gosselin's estranged son Colin is releasing a massive tell-all book this week detailing alleged abuse. The reality TV family pipeline is just trauma, NDAs, and eventual tell-all books.
It's likely a volatile mix of both. There's probably a small kernel of truth buried under a massive mountain of vindictive exaggeration. But airing out completely unverified claims of hard drug use on Instagram Live without a shred of proof is a legally perilous game.
It is so messy. And speaking of messy interpersonal dynamics, let's quickly touch on Lala Kent's massive FOMO. Lala went to Lisa Vanderpump's new Vegas hotel opening, and because of logistical issues, she ended up stuck in a private Jet Suite X car with her sworn mortal enemies.
A literal nightmare.
She was trapped in a car with Tom Sandoval, James Kennedy, and James's pregnant girlfriend. Lala actually said on her platform, "I never thought any of us would be in the same fucking car ever again." Can you imagine the suffocating, thick awkwardness of that car ride?
From a psychological standpoint, I would have actively considered rolling out of a moving vehicle to escape that specific combination of massive egos. The tension per square inch in that confined space must have been scientifically staggering.
Right. And then Lala tried to explain to her audience why she skipped Jasmine Good's wedding. She said she went to her other friend's baby shower instead, but she admitted she had massive FOMO because the wedding looked like authentic love and didn't look like it was a show for anybody.
Oh, the passive aggression.
Which is so incredibly shady. She's pretending she made the right choice, but then throwing direct shade at her castmates' relationships at the exact same time. And of course, PK Kensley is out here making comments about Dorrit to the paparazzi. The Bravo universe simply never sleeps.
Lala Kent claiming she never has FOMO in general is fascinating PR spin. She lives for the spotlight and the center apple. She was undoubtedly seething that she missed a major, highly photographed cast event and had to settle for observing it through Instagram stories.
Totally seething. Okay, babes, we've talked about the people getting fired and canceled today. Now let's talk about the absolute icons clawing their way back to our screens with comebacks, makeovers, and casting tea.
Finally, we observe some resilience, or sheer desperation. In this industry, it is a very fine line between the two.
The ultimate reality TV villain is officially back. Christine Quinn is returning to Selling Sunset for Season 10. I literally screamed with joy when the press release dropped.
It was a very well-timed announcement.
The Oppenheim office has been so incredibly boring without her insane avant-garde outfits and her terrifying, unpredictable energy. And when TMZ caught up with her and asked why she's deciding to come back now after such a long hiatus, she didn't miss a single beat. She literally looked at the camera and said, "The trash needed to be taken out." She is directly referring to the mass firing of Mary, Emma, Chelsea, and Sandra.
You have to step back and respect the absolute calculated savagery of that quote. Let's break down the math of a reality TV comeback. Christine leaves the show under a very dark cloud of bribery allegations, gets into a very messy, highly publicized divorce, and waits in the wings.
Just biding her time.
Meanwhile, the show loses its primary antagonist, the narrative stalls, and the ratings dip. The network does a cost-benefit analysis and realizes they need to pay her a massive quote to save the franchise. She negotiates her triumphant return from a position of absolute power.
Oh, she definitely secured the bag.
And the very first PR move she makes, before she even steps foot back into the office to film, is to call 4 of her former coworkers, women who literally just lost their primary source of income trash. She is a master manipulator of the press. She knows exactly what the audience wants, and she is serving it on a silver designer platter.
She is reality TV gold. She understands the assignment better than anyone. But the casting chaos isn't just happening over on Netflix, it is happening everywhere today. Tyra Banks is officially returning as a judge on Project Runway.
Very interesting timing on that one.
Which is wild timing, because she is simultaneously dealing with a massive, highly publicized defamation lawsuit over the recent America's Next Top Model documentary.
This is a textbook PR deflection strategy. If you are facing a lawsuit accusing you of character assassination and creating a toxic work environment on the show you created, what do? You attach yourself to a completely different, untainted legacy brand.
Oh, that's smart.
By joining Project Runway, she's pivoting the media narrative. The message she is sending to the press is, don't look at my messy lawsuit, look at me professionally critique hemlines next to Heidi Klum. It washes the stink of the ANTM controversy off her public profile.
That makes perfect sense. And over on ABC, Jimmy Kimmel's sidekick, Guillermo Rodriguez, is shockingly joining the cast of Dancing with the Stars. I didn't see that crossover coming at all. But the darkest casting tea today comes from Love Island UK.
Yes, the mysterious exit.
Contestant George Knight was suddenly mysteriously axed from the villa. Initially, the network PR team released a statement claiming he left voluntarily for a family health concern. But the truth eventually leaked out to the tabloids. He was actually fired by production for using an offensive slur on camera. He tried to defend himself by claiming it was just how he is in the moment.
How I am in the moment is not a legally or socially viable defense for using bigoted language on a massive global television broadcast. The spin machine tried to protect the show's wholesome image with the classic family emergency excuse, but in the era of NDA leaks and rogue producers, the truth always surfaces. It's another glaring example of talent severely lacking basic situational awareness while mic'd up.
Absolutely zero awareness. Now let's talk about someone who is hyper-aware of her visual image, Cherie Whitfield. The RHOA alum just debuted a shocking new look on Instagram, and the internet is in absolute shambles over it.
The comment section was ruthless.
Fans are aggressively accusing her of getting a full surgical facelift and entirely new veneers. Everyone in the comments is saying she looks completely unrecognizable, and they are doing side-by-side comparisons to Kim Zolciak or Melissa Gorga. Now, I am going to fiercely defend a woman's right to some cosmetic tweaks. If she wants a little pull here, a little tuck there, and she has the money for it, let her live her best life. She looks absolutely fabulous.
I will look at this analytically. Yes, bodily autonomy is paramount. It is her face and her bank account. However, from a public relations standpoint, when you visually rebrand to the point of purchasing an entirely new facial structure and debut it on a public platform, you cannot be offended when the blogs and the Snark Squad notice that you now resemble a composite sketch of 3 completely different Bravo stars.
You're so
You
bad.
can't drastically alter your fundamental bone structure and expect the public to just casually ask, "Did you change your lip gloss?" The visual overhaul is fascinating.
It is a dramatic change, but I love a good reinvention era. And speaking of trying desperately to reinvent broken things, let's end this recap with a quick update on the secret lives of Mormon wives. Jen Affleck just announced to the world that she is pregnant with baby number 4.
I sighed so heavily when I read that.
This is right after we watched all those massive, incredibly dark marital issues play out on Hulu, their brief split in 2025, and all the intense therapy sessions with Zach.
And here is where I must question the fundamental behavioral logic of reality television stars. Is introducing a brand new infant into the dynamic really the solution to a marriage that was actively crumbling on a streaming service a few months ago?
Obviously not.
A Band-Aid baby is historically the worst possible fix for a fractured foundation. Mechanically, it just adds severe sleep deprivation, financial stress, and hormonal shifts to an already highly toxic, unstable dynamic. But from a purely cynical production standpoint, it absolutely guarantees them a central storyline for season 2.
You are always looking at the cynical angle. Maybe they actually did the work in therapy and are genuinely healed. But babes, that brings us to the end of this absolutely massive, chaotic recap. My head is actively spinning from all the drama, the lawsuits, and the PR spin today.
My analytical brain is thoroughly exhausted. We have successfully dissected the wreckage. It is time for the outro.
Yes. So, we want to leave you with a final provocative thought today, something to really chew on while you finish the last drop of that iced coffee. With all these massive structural reality TV reboots happening right now, like RHONJ firing almost their entire cast, selling Sunset, paying a fortune to bring back Christine to save the show, Summer House imploding from the inside out and losing key players, is this a definitive sign that the golden era of reality TV is officially over?
It's a valid question.
Are the major networks just desperately recycling the exact same messy people and blowing up classic formats because they fundamentally don't know how to create authentic, organic drama with new people anymore? Are we just sitting here watching the slow, agonizing death of the entire reality genre?
It's a terrifying existential question for the industry. We might very well be witnessing the snake finally eating its own tail. Networks are so risk-averse now, they'd rather pay an exorbitant fee for a known villain than develop new talent.
Think about it. And now, babes, we need to hear directly from you. We need you in the comments, in the reviews, in our DMs right now. Snark Squad, answer these exact questions for us. First, which story shocked you the most today?
I'm betting it's the $80 million mine.
Which celebrity is having the messiest wit? Are you Team Yoga or Team Pilates? And what celebrity gossip story are you currently obsessed with?
I fully expect a comprehensive thesis on the Pilates versus yoga biomechanical debate, by the way. Please defend your positions with evidence. Cite your sources.
Oh my God, calm down. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening to this massive conversation. We love dissecting this mess with you. Please remember to subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and share the podcast with a fellow gossip lover. Send the link to the group chat right now so they can catch up.
Your continued support keeps the iced coffee flowing and the analytical snark alive.
Stay messy, stay fabulous, and we'll see you on the Snark Side.